Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a fragrance for you from Mancera, and it is called Hindu Kush. This was released in 2018 and the perfumer is not listed. This is called an amber woody fragrance on Fragrantica. And on Perfumo, it is listed as a spicy woody fragrance. You've probably heard of this fragrance before, because I think it's a little bit like people are very intrigued when the note of cannabis is in a fragrance. And a lot of times they kind of want to get on it because it has cannabis. Not all states even allow you to smoke cannabis legally in the United States, and wherever you are in the world, it's probably controversial regarding whether or not cannabis is available in a legal fashion. So I think people are intrigued by that. And I think that is one of the selling points for this fragrance. All strains of cannabis are very different, especially in how they smell. And so how is it going to be represented in a fragrance? Well, that's up to the perfumer. On Perfumo, it mentions about longevity, and it says that longevity for this fragrance is above average. That would be another selling point for people looking for a fragrance, is usually you would like it to last. Most people want their fragrance to last. This is marketed towards men and women, and I believe most Mancera fragrances are unisex. The notes are top notes, cannabis and labdanum. Labdanum isn't usually listed as a top note. Spices and frankincense. The middle notes, patchouli and woody notes. The base notes, white musks, guaiac wood, vanilla, and amber. So this is an amber fragrance. I don't think of it as an amber fragrance because it's not primarily amber, but yeah, this is another amber fragrance. The notes on Fragrantica are slightly differently stated. They say that the top notes are incense, spices, cannabis, and labdanum, and the middle notes, woody notes and patchouli leaf, and base notes, amber, guaiac wood, vanilla pod, and white musks. Let me tell you what I think of this fragrance. When I'm watching fragrance reviews and discussion videos on YouTube, I like to look and see what the person's bottle looks like. You can tell a lot from the bottle. You can tell about the level, and you can tell about how much a person needs to spray to get the effect that they want. And also you can tell how long they've had it, a little bit like that, or you can tell how well it's been kept. You can tell how much they've used, how much they like the fragrance, and how much they've used, how much experience they have with the fragrance. And then you have to gauge it against that particular person. And for me, normally when you see me reviewing fragrances, I've used almost half the bottle, sometimes more. And I like to do that because I feel like I need to have a lot of experiences, many days of wearing a fragrance and smelling it, and just every day is different. I mean, the way you experience fragrances changes based on so many different things in your life and day to day. Your hormone levels, all kinds of hormones, and the chemicals in your brain. I mean, just the mood you wake up in. It's affected, well, the mood that you have and the mood that you wake up in has to do with chemicals in your body and your brain. So for me, you can see here, if usually I'm reviewing a fragrance when it has a lot missing, and this one is pretty close to full, that will tell you a little about how much I use this fragrance. And it's true. I'm about to sell this fragrance. It's one of the ones that I don't have an interest in. I never really did. I blind bought it. So I bought it because I wanted to see what cannabis smells like in a fragrance. And I thought Mancera was a safe house to buy from. And so, yeah, I got this. I got this from a discounter, but it was still, you know, in the 80s or $90. And it was a couple of years ago. And it's It's never been one that I reached for. Never has. I tried wearing it, and I just didn't find myself wanting to reach for it. I think this fragrance leans masculine for sure. And that's not the reason I don't reach for it. But yeah, this fragrance leans masculine. Women can wear it. I wear lots of masculine leaning fragrances, but I see this as a fragrance that men would wear a lot more than women. So when I smell this fragrance, I smell what I guess is the cannabis, but to me, it reminds me of tobacco. This is really sweet. It's a really sweet fragrance, and that could be caused by so many things that are in here, including the white musks can come across as sweet. And, you know, there's vanilla pod, which of course can be sweet, but doesn't have to be. What they put in the amber, they just list amber, but the formulation that they use of those different aspects of amber can make something very sweet. What else could be sweet in here? Well, there's labdanum listed separately, so that can be sweet. But the sweetness that I'm getting, Gaiac wood is not usually sweet. It's more bitter and resinous and balsamic, but it's a wood. Let me see, my Gaiac wood. Yeah, so I have Gaiac wood here. This has like a burnt aspect to it. Woody, burnt, bitter. Yeah. So I don't think that the sweetness is coming from the Gaiac wood, but I think the sweetness combined with the Gaiac wood can make it have this effect that it has. I guess the cannabis could be causing sweetness, because if it's smelling to me like tobacco smells in fragrances, tobacco can be very sweet. So I think probably the sweetness can be coming from that. And also depending on which spices and how you dose them, that can make it sweet. This fragrance is boozy. Boozy sweet. And you can smell the frankincense just as part of the rest of it. I do not smell patchouli, but it's in here. It doesn't say anything boozy when it lists the notes, but it definitely comes across as boozy. I'm thinking cognac. Yeah, cognac. And it's got this nice magnetic lid that comes off. This is one of my least favorite fragrances. I don't know why. I just don't like it. I do like some sweetness in fragrances. Oh, it's fruity. There's something fruity here. So that could be coming from the cannabis. Fruity, boozy, tobacco or cannabis, and amber, sweet, vanilla, and a little bit bitter. But with all that sweetness added, when you add sweetness to something that's bitter, it's very rich. Like, it's got a richness to it. Does it last a long time? I would say yes. It probably does last about 4.5 hours, which to me is a long time. And on your clothes, it would probably last multiple days. If you had the same jacket or something that you sprayed it with, you would probably smell this on it. You probably haven't gotten your nose on this one, but you might be thinking about buying this one. So if you are thinking about buying this one, make sure that you don't mind sweet fragrances, because you're gonna die with how sweet this is. And make sure that you don't mind tobacco, because it does smell similar to tobacco. I think putting cannabis in a fragrance is to get people to buy it. And a lot of people do blind buy fragrances. So that would be, you know, that would be one incentive, is to see what cannabis is like in a fragrance. But no, you won't smell like you smoke cannabis. If you wear this, you're not gonna, people aren't gonna think, oh yeah, that person just smoked some weed. No, that's not what this smells like. This doesn't smell like cannabis burning or smoke. And when you smoke cannabis, you're gonna smell like the smoke. You're gonna kind of smell a little bit like a fireplace or a fire, like a bonfire. If you smoke cannabis, I'm just, you know, I just gathered this through life experience, that's all. But you're not gonna smell like you smoke cannabis if you wear this, in case you might be concerned about that. It's more just a nice way, it's more just a nice way of flavoring the rest of the fragrance and giving it a tone. Yeah, I call this a boozy fragrance. I don't know if anyone else has called it boozy, but I definitely do. It's a nice heavy bottle, and the cap is got this like some kind of plant engraved, and then it's black. These are nice heavy bottles, and the magnetic lid is just very convenient. Can you lift it? Yeah, you can lift it by the lid. So that's also an attention to detail that not all fragrance companies have the money to invest in. This kind of a bottle, it's very thick. You can see how thick the bottom of it is. This is heavy. You get it in your hand and you're like, yeah, I paid 90 bucks for this. I'm gonna wear it. I'll see you later.